के द्वारा डायल किया गया नंबर अभी व्यस्त है, कृपया कुछ समय पश्चात प्रयास करें।
Dheeraj?
Venus, this is me, Ekansh.
Hi, Kansh. So this means I'm in?
Yeah, you're in. I have promoted you to co-host. Now you can share your PPT.
Hang on.
Ekansh, there are attendees. So
yeah.
So I'm clicking on sharing screen. Hang on. Okay. Ekansh, is it okay now? Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. You need to put the slideshow, make it full screen.
Okay, hang on. Good? Ekansh, my audio is okay because I'm talking to the computer. I don't have the headsets.
Ah, perfect.
Okay. Let me know when to start. Ekansh, should we start?
We have to wait 5 more minutes. We are waiting more people to join in.
5 more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm?
Ekansh, waiting for you. I think we have, it's 1:30 now.
Yes, Venus, we can start.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I think I can see that we have about 63 people. Very impressive. When my team sort of told me that this is my first webinar, that they're keeping this on a Sunday afternoon, I was very iffy about it because generally Sunday afternoons are for brunch. But I guess we are living in a very strange time. So very happy, very excited, and thank you so much for joining us. So the way I've structured this is to give you and talk about what master franchising is and my experience in master franchising. And I'll start with the first introducing Fran Global and myself, and then what you can expect from this session. So hopefully this will add value. I think we have our team there. So if you have any questions, you can ask those questions from them, and I'll try to answer them in real time as much as possible. So thank you. To start with, let me introduce Fran Global. Fran Global is the international arm of Franchise India. Franchise India, as many of you would know, is it's a 22-year-old organization and the largest service provider in franchising. Fran Global is part of Franchise India, and its core business is working with international brands and helping them enter India predominantly through master franchising. So our business is to work with various international concepts and bring them to India through master franchising. And in India, we work with individuals and businesses and entrepreneurs who already are existing master franchisees or would want one. We do work with, in certain cases, with Indian brands as well. If they have, I think my voice is breaking, Ekansh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to move your laptop a bit closer.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Okay. So, so I think that's a bit about Fran Global. You can, if you want to know more, you can visit our website. Now, this is not going forward. I don't know how it is done. I'm not able to move the slide. Okay, it's working. Okay, something about myself. I have been working in franchising from the last 13 years. That's when I joined the organization. And I started actually with becoming a master franchisee. So we brought FranCorp to India. FranCorp is the world's oldest and largest franchise consulting firm. And we are the, I think my voice is not lit. What should I do, Dheeraj?
So if you can bring your Wi-Fi router a bit closer, I mean, you can take your laptop nearest point to your Wi-Fi and bring laptop a bit closer to your.
Let me join from my phone. Maybe that is better than.
Now. It's better now.
Okay, this is okay. Is it better?
Yes, please continue.
Okay, sorry. Technical issues. So actually, that's how I started in franchising, becoming the master franchisee of FranCorp. Did that for 5 years and have been with Fran Global for last 5 years. So between these 13 years, I think the biggest accomplishment I can say is to have met at least 5,000 brands from India and all across the world, over 5,000 brands, and maybe 10,000 individuals wanting or to invest into franchising. So I guess that's something which I think is the privilege of my job, and that's the most exciting part of it. And I'll try to kind of bring as much as possible during the session the real-time experience of the last 13 years. So that's a bit about me. You can contact me on my email, that's there. So what we are trying to accomplish, what we'll try to accomplish in the session today, we'll talk about what franchising is and what is master franchising. Is the master franchise suitable for you? Because not everybody is a master franchise. The roles and responsibilities of master franchising, some examples which I guess should be very helpful of established master franchisees in India, and some of the opportunities which are available, and definitely question and answer. Talking about franchising and master franchising. So I guess whenever the word franchising is said, typically I think what flashes in our mind is McDonald's. But franchising typically is divided into sort of two spectrums. One is the product franchising, another one is the service franchising. So product franchising, typically Procter and Gamble, Unilever are the examples of product franchising. So much more what we call distribution. And service franchising, definitely McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Subway. These are sort of two examples. And so franchising typically at its core is expanding your brand and business without giving up equity or paying interest. So that's the root of franchising. So if any product or any service which has a market, which has a demand, can be franchised. I think and franchising is pretty also. Coca-Cola used it in 1800s. That's to expand its product, and franchising is actually sort of that's when it started. But if taking US in sort of a context, the biggest growth in franchising actually came after World War II. That's when we saw brands like McDonald's coming out. So that's a bit about franchising. Master franchising is what you would call a form of the franchisor-franchisee relationship, in which the master franchisee essentially becomes a mini franchisor for a specified territory. So as this says, I think the biggest component of master franchising is the territory. For example, Domino's, which runs 1,200 outlets in India, maybe more, is under a master franchise structure. So it's owned by Jubilant, but and they bought the territory 25 years back. So there are two components of master franchising, which are different from, let's say, when we talk about normal franchising. Master franchising at its core is investing in future. So if you really see, the biggest sort of brands were acquired in the 90s by a lot of large groups. So at that time, they bought these brands not of the demand which was there at that time. They invested in the demand which is there now. That's why, so two big components of master franchising which are different from unit franchising is, one is the territory, two is the duration. So these two components are, let's say, very different. So and you see every brand you see anywhere in the world, I would say 99% of the times it is franchised, and it's actually master franchised. And so that's the big difference. So all these brands which you see in India are all operating under, whether it's food, whether it's retail, 99% of the time they are operating under a master franchise. So a master franchise, as this says, is a mini franchisor, and that's a very important concept of this, is that when you become a master franchisee, you actually get into the role of managing and owning the brand for that territory. Now, I think if I have to break that concept down, master franchising does not only work on a national sort of level. It can work at a national level. It can work at a regional level. It can even work at a, just a second.
Venus,
Yeah.
let's try this. I'll try to share the PPT, and you just you shut down sharing. I'll start sharing. So maybe you will save some bandwidth, and the voice will become clearer.
So it's still not clear?
It's still not. It's breaking in between. It's getting better. It's getting bad.
Okay, so how would you share? You have access to this file?
Yeah.
So I should say stop sharing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just did that.
Venus, can you see the PPT now?
Is it better now?
Yes, Venus, please continue.
Okay, okay. Sorry. I apologize. I guess we didn't realize that tech might be an issue. So I apologize. Okay. Can we move the slide on the next slide, please? Next one. What is master franchising? I've just sent you. Next one, please. Am I not audible? I think somebody's saying. Hello?
We can hear you, Venus.
Okay, great. So I think, I was talking about, just to kind of finish my thought on master franchising. So master franchise, difference between franchising and master franchising is master franchise is a version where the biggest component is the territory and time. So you invest into the territory and building that territory in future. So that's why typical master franchise contracts would be anywhere from 10 to 25 years. And master franchising is investing into the future. And master franchising can work at every level: national, regional, area, and sometimes city-based also. Depends upon the brand, depends upon the territory, and depends upon the opportunity. So next slide, which is what are different models of master franchising, international sort of franchise models, which are typically these terms are used and these models are used. So one is master franchise. Master franchise, by definition, if I have to say, means that you are getting complete ownership and rights of the brand for that territory for a certain duration of time. And an area franchise typically is the further, let's say, maybe a smaller version of master franchise, where you're getting to develop an area. Now, the terms and condition can be different in any of these. So we actually in India use the term master franchise differently than, let's say, somebody in the US would think. So in US, master franchising by definition means that you get the rights and you get to sub-franchise. But in India, let's say, for example, Jubilant is a master franchise for Domino's, but they don't sub-franchise. But by definition, that's what it means. And area development by US standards mean that that you get to develop the area, but not necessarily you will get the rights to sub-franchise. So I think we whenever we are using these terms, we have to be very careful, because if we talk about international standards, they mean different things. So it's very important to understand that. Multi-unit franchising is also used. Typically, these multi-unit franchisees format are used by international brands, even domestic ones also, where the format typically is a bigger format, meaning you can, let's say, it's maybe a bigger club or a bigger store, and you can only put, let's say, 2 or 3 or 4 of those. So multi-unit franchisee is used to depending upon the scope and the scale of the brand, and then of course we have unit franchising. Unit franchising is simple, where you buy a preschool, or you buy a sandwich store, you buy a school. It all works. You get the rights only for that unit. There is no exclusivity, unlike master franchise, where exclusivity is the biggest sort of component. In unit franchising, that component is not there. I think in multi-unit franchising also that component is not there. So if you see these 4 different concepts, the first 2 have a very defined exclusive component. In multi-unit unit franchising, that component is not there. So next. So why master franchise is a good global expansion strategy? Well, there is no other way, because imagine, there are, let's say, 50,000 Subway stores in the world. Imagine, if Subway was operating all these stores by themselves. Impossible. So master franchising is a good global expansion strategy because there is no other way. And it's a very strategic way also. So that is, I think, one component. For example, because just imagine Domino's having 1,200 stores in India, becoming the second biggest market after America. KFC having 5,000 stores in China. Could the KFC US or Domino's US would have done? Maybe, but I think, but it has been successfully driven predominantly by a master franchisee. And the second is actually much more strategic, because if you really see, when we talk about a territory or a country, it's not just about investing money. It is also about culture and how things really work. So master franchising is not just about like the money part. It's also about the cultural part. And that's why master franchising works beautifully, because there is this brand which is successful, which again would have a demand in India, in India or any other country, and is clubbed with local capital and local sort of resources. So that's why master franchising works. And as the slide says, master franchise partner is typically a native of the country and understand the political and bureaucratic problems in his or her country far better than any outsider. For example, again, talking about, let's say, a Subway or a McDonald's, when you visit them outside India, and when foreigners visit McDonald's in India or Subway in India, they're surprised, because there's no classic hamburger. Our burgers are patty burger, potato patty burgers, paneer burgers, chicken burgers. But again, that's what the specialty for India. That's what works in India. So that is so important. And KFC had that burn when they had to move out of the country, because there were some speculations that they were using some kind of a beef component in one of their sauces or something. So that's why cultural factor is very, very important when we talk about master franchising. And that's why any global brand you see anywhere in India, typically it is done with a master franchisee. Next, please. So how to prioritize a target market? And again, this graph works not just, let's say, for when you want to enter a new country, but it can work in India, in a market like India, it can work domestically also. For example, we, like metro cities, tier 2 cities, and southwest east. But I think how brands prioritize a market, these are different sort of combinations. So country factors to consider when choosing when to franchise, of course, is rule of law, because if there is if the country is not stable, typically, like, for example, you would know, you would have heard about this, it's called McDonald's index. What is a McDonald's index? Where wherever there is a McDonald's, typically that country is good to do business with. That's so I think so you can actually kind of take real life examples from that. So rule of law, country stability, intellectual property protection, good GDP growth, clear market differentiation, potential to achieve an acceptable ROI. Now, all these factors does not have to be there, but for example, just a good GDP growth. I think India has that factor. For all these brands, we are 1.3 billion people. Even let's say 30% of our population, is actually the population of US. So I think this combination of these factors typically makes the case for a brand to look at markets, market potential, market risk, and it should be definitely a win-win situation, and value proposition with revenue share. So roles and responsibilities of support of franchisor and master franchise, know the operating cost in each country. This is very important because as you would know, that when we operate in India, the operating cost and the cost structure and economies of scale, economies of opening and running the brands are different. So unless and many brands, I would say many brands have made these big mistakes, especially this is about 10 years back, 15 years back, when they just kind of entered India without any sort of thought of really in terms of understanding what it would take to actually enter and establish in India, and that's why those brands came in and then gone back. But I think I would say more and more right now, we are seeing a lot of maturity coming in the market. Next slide, please. So what are the roles and responsibilities of the master franchisee? So master franchisee, as I mentioned, it is investing in future. So and it starts with brand ownership. What does that mean? So the cost side in master franchise, unlike unit franchising, is very heavy, because you are acquiring a brand for the potential of future. So you have to own the brand, for owning that brand, you have to invest into the rights. So what we call a master franchise. So there's a fee which is involved. So so you have to first get the brand ownership, the rights to own the brand. So that is the most important. I think somebody's asking a question. That is the most important. That's the first step in starting the journey of master franchising. Is so the upside. So the cost is in master franchising is in starting is very big, and after that, of course, once you have acquired the rights, you need to invest into training yourself and training your core team. So these two, I would say, would be the starting points for owning the master franchise. The second responsibility is the development of stores, because you're investing into a territory. So once you have acquired the rights, once you have done the training, your second responsibility would be to development of stores, which is a combination of your own stores as well as sub-franchise stores, operational, because to run a brand, you need to invest into your operational capacity, because again, you are investing into building the business. So you would have to have operational team, supply chain, all that capacity building. In the initial part of the master franchising, you would have to do marketing and sales. There is that's because since you would become the owner of the brand, the marketing and sales, this is one question which I get a lot of times, that what happens to marketing and sales? Well, you own the brand, the marketing and sales also is your responsibility. And of course, all the standards and everything are given by the brand, but the investment into marketing and sales is yours. Communication, I think that's a very important part. A lot of brands have kind of failed or have been successful because they have communicated very well between the principal, which is the brand, and their sub-franchisees. So communication, again, is very important. And so these, I would say, are the major roles and responsibilities. And who it is suitable for, again, I'm going back to my core message, is master franchising is suitable for people and organizations who want to invest into future. Because the ROI and the ROE, which is return on time and return on investment, in a master franchise typically starts from, let's say, 3 to 5 years, not in the immediate year. So I think it is suitable for people and individuals and organizations who would want to see, let's say, today we are sitting in 2020, in 2025, 2030, this market is going to be this much. So to actually be part of that market, you would then start investing now, and then you would be getting sort of results and income on that basis. That's why, so this is a long-term relationship. So if you are looking at a quicker return, maybe you should do what you would call unit franchising or multi-unit franchising. It is suitable for master franchising. At the end of the day, I mean, I can talk about a lot of functional things, but at the end of the day, it is investment into future. So if you want to be part of India's, let's say, economy in 2030, 2040, then master franchising makes sense to you. But the downside is that the investment would happen today. In the first 5 years is the biggest investment. And then once you have done that investment, once you build that capacity, once you've done that development, in, let's say, it really starts kicking in after 5 years, because what you are doing is you have cash flows, you are receiving royalties from your sub-franchisees. For example, look at Subway, right? So 600, 700 stores, and through 9 area developers, and imagine the amount of royalty they are collecting. So again, if you want to be part of Indian economy 10 years down the line, then master franchising is for you. Next slide, please. Okay, so here are the few examples. I'm sure you would know all these brands. Some of the biggest brands in F&B are all franchised. Domino's is run by Jubilant Group. Pizza Hut is run by Jaipuria. So is KFC. McDonald's, as you would have heard, they have recently just changed their partner in India. They have 2 what you would call master franchisees, one for North and East, another one for South and West. Subway is completely franchised. So I would say among all these brands, Wendy's again is a master franchise, is actually owned by a UK-based fund who bought the rights for India. They own Wendy's and they own Jamie's Pizzeria as well. But I think among all these brands, I think I have something to add. I would say among all these brands, the two brands which I think really have made franchising a part of their growth is, one is Subway and another one is Baskin and Robbins. And you see, they have the maximum number of stores, maybe except Domino's, but Subway, every store is sub-franchised, and so is Baskin and Robbins. They only have like one store which they opened, when they started off. So I would say if franchising, if used successfully, with the right model, with the right economies, then you can. Then India, of course, is such a big market. Subway would add another 1,000 stores in next let's say 5 to 10 years in India, and so would Baskin, all through franchising. So, but for example, Domino's is a master franchisee, but they don't sub-franchise. I think they should think about it now, especially after what is happening. So these are few brands. And again, just like F&B, all retail you see, it's all franchised. Can you go next? I'm sorry. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yes. So just like F&B, all retail, I would say 98% of it is run under a master franchise relationship, predominantly by the large groups. If you can go to the next slide, please. So this is a list of major retail brands which are owned by different groups. For example, Reliance today owns, I think, about 60 or 70 odd different international retail brands. So I think all the retail which you see is predominantly now. Some of these groups franchise do use sub-franchising after acquiring master franchise. Some of them are opening their own stores. So it's totally really depends. Next, please. This is again a list of different master franchisees which are there. Next, please. So I think we have covered food, we covered retail, and these now what you see is service franchisees. So this is just, I think if I can share right now, is the biggest opportunity in India is service-based franchisees. It is already big in a lot of Western countries, but in India, I feel, by the way I'm talking to people, but this will be the biggest category which will rise, I would say, from a 5 to 10 year perspective, because services would be in demand. So anything home-based, anything B2B, you would see a lot of brands coming in now. The way you have the way like I showed the slides for F&B and retail, you would see the service franchisees kind of. I think if I wait another 5 years, there will be at least 50 odd brands will be coming in sectors like healthcare, beauty, business services, coaching, consulting. There will be many brands coming in the service industry now. These are some of the brands which are already there. So Remax is there. In fact, it is owned by Franchise India now. Action Coach is there. Action Coach is world's largest coaching business for, and in fact, we are the master franchisees here. ChemDry again is world's largest cleaning business. So Cartridge World is world's largest cartridge refilling. They were there in India, now they have gone back. So this, I think, I want to share that this would be the biggest category. And again, if you really see the F&B and retail franchisees are driven by large groups, right? All those names. And so you must be thinking, okay, that is Aditya Birla or that is Reliance. But in service businesses, it will be driven by what we call professional entrepreneurs, which are sort of people from good families, from good colleges, have done some work, have some capital, and would want to run their own business. So this, I think, would be, according to me, would be the next sunshine sort of sector in India. Service businesses, direct to home, would anything, education would be very, very, you will see a lot of growth. So you should watch out for this category. Next, please. So from I'm just kind of concluding now. So this is a franchise industry in India. We are now almost about I think 70 to 75 billion dollars as an industry, and the biggest categories which are franchised in India are education. In fact, franchising in India started with education, unlike any other country in the world. People don't realize that, but India has one of the biggest education franchise markets, because in mid-80s with IT education training, we started with that. Of course, that has stabilized now because it saw 20 years of such massive growth. So education is a big category. F&B, of course, is a big category, and retail. So these are the big categories in India. And I think it makes sense that Indian franchisor, unlike, let's say, if I compare it with the other matured economies, Indian franchisee is actually a young franchisee, anywhere between the age of, let's say, 25 to 45, and typically sort of self-funded. In India, unlike, let's say, America or other major economies, franchising is where 90% of franchising is financed, and finance, again, money is very cheap there. But in India, because the way our family structure and culture is, I would say 90% of the times franchising is self-funded. And another aspect of franchising in India is it is not regulated. We don't have franchise-specific laws as yet. I predict, let's say, it would be happening somewhere maybe 4 to 5 years down the line. We would want that. And so a franchise contract, typically, if you do a deal with a local franchisor, it would be as per the old British contract law. But if you do an international master franchise, for example, the contract between, although I have not seen it, but the contract between, let's say, a Jubilant and Domino's US would be as per their law. So it would be as per their law. So if you are bringing in a brand, typically the contract which you will have, the binding contract, would be as per the law of the company where it originates from, or maybe international law in some cases. That's about it. I think we can go to the next slide, please. So I think I was given that I was told that I should focus on some important, some good opportunities. So we collectively would represent over 100 plus international brands. I guess, so I cannot talk about all of them. But so if you, and again, they are, I would say 50% of them would be in food. We have, but I want to talk about few opportunities which I think, would be interesting, especially where we are now and the way the market is, I think the way we feel, the way we think, the way we see the market is going to grow. One of them is a brand from Hungary. It's a brand called Logi School, which is into, they teach children starting the age of 2 coding. So they have invested millions of dollars in building a proprietary method and software and technology where a 2-year-old child can learn coding, and the program starts from 2 years old till goes about 15, 16 years old. And now with the advent of COVID-19, they are going online as well. So India anyways is a big IT market, and I think going forward, the future of employment is not after a degree, but future of employment is how skilled you are, and can be done from anywhere. So I think this opportunity, and they are the world's one of the best sort of programs I've seen. So that if you are interested in kids in education, then I think that is one good opportunity you should look at. It's called Logi School. You can sort of share your details. We will be more than happy to share that concept. Another one which I think would, especially with COVID-19, is it's a concept from Europe. It's called Fit20, where you only you can open a gym in, let's say, 1,000 square feet, and you only have let's say one machine, and you only have to come once a week, and you can have guaranteed fitness and weight loss. So it's a brand which is a smaller version. So, and we think, and our prediction is that healthcare fitness market is going to be very big. But bigger gyms, I think, which are again, or many of them, not as much, because the capex and everything is very heavy. So this brand from Europe, is called Fit20. You can fit a gym. They have a proprietary machine, and you only have to work half an hour a week, and that's it. And you will be fit. So this is another opportunity I would want you to look at. Another opportunity, I think, which is going very big. It's a brand from Dubai. It's called, it's into F&B. It's called JJ Chicken. And again, 80% delivery, because I think the future of food is about 60-70% delivery, 30% dine-in. There's a brand from Dubai, owned by a respected Emirati group. And they do everything. First of all, India, when you talk about non-veg, is a chicken-based market. So they do great chicken dishes, very cheap, very easy to set up. You can put up a store. We have up in about, let's say, 25 lakhs, and very and I think this is a brand which we feel is going to do very well in India. So that's another opportunity, and it's available it is open for all of India. I think Ikansh?
Yes, hi.
I think I'm good. I would want to now finish off and take any questions.
Yeah, there are a lot of questions.
Because it's 45 minutes, you gave me 45 minutes. So I'll just round off and then maybe we can take questions, right? We have 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think, thank you very much. I hope this was helpful. And I'm available on my email. My team is available, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions now. How do I take questions?
Venus, they're mentioned in the chat tool and the Q&A tool at the bottom.
Okay, I can see them now. So, hi Dinesh, your question is, have restrictions to franchise and some criteria about the project. What right they done business? I'm sorry, I don't follow. Dinesh, if you can please rephrase your question. I cannot get your question clearly. The next is again, is in franchise to connect with multiple brokers, user logins? Which franchise will be profitable? I think that's a good question. It's by anonymous. So which franchisee will be profitable? Well, that's a question. I guess if it is a straight answer,
everybody would be, doing that. But master franchising, if is profitable, as I said, you're investing into future, right? So the profitable franchisee would be if it has demand, if it has scale. So master franchising becomes profitable, cannot be profitable if you are only sort of, if there is an opportunity to open 1,000 stores and you are only opening 30. It can never be profitable, right? So the fundamentals of master franchising from a profitability standpoints become are sort of connected very much to, as I mentioned earlier, to future is to scale. So you have to have scale. Domino's has scale, Subway has scale, Baskin Robbins has scale. So scalability is one. Second, you become profitable by ensuring that your operations, so economies of scale also then drives justifies the cost of operations. I have seen so many brands killing themselves just because their operation cost is so high and there is no economies of scale. So so first fundamental is economies of scale, and the second then justification of your, because you want your economies of scale higher and your operational cost lower. So these two fundamentals are essential for profitability, and they have to go hand in hand, because you would have a fixed operational cost, right? And if you don't have numbers to justify, you will always be bleeding. So this I would say is a good rational way of being profitable. Actually, so next question is, actually, I was looking for franchisee like Starbucks and DMart, but when I asked my agent, they told me that they don't provide franchise. Is that right? That is correct. So, good question. See, I'll tell you one thing. This is Yash. Hi, Yash. See, when I started working in franchising 2007, every person which I used to meet wanted to buy, you know what? McDonald's. Madam, mujhe McDonald's dilwa dijiye. And again, because like everybody's like McDonald's, now I think you should go a bit deeper. Starbucks, but they didn't know the economics of opening a McDonald's. It requires $2 million. You're giving 20 years of your life. Your return is not going to come at least in the first 10 years. So I think I would actually rephrase this. Starbucks is a great brand. And it's in India, they are not, it is under a joint venture with the Tata Group, right? I would say, I think instead of talking about Starbucks, I would recommend coffee already is fairly big, but it is going to get much bigger. You will see at least, from a 5 to 10 year perspective, you will see at least another 5,000 coffee shops opening in India, 100%. So you should actually then, Starbucks is not available for franchising, but what you should do, my recommendation is to go and find a good coffee brand, maybe Indian, maybe international, you would want to bring to India, whether through master franchising or maybe getting a unit franchisee. That is my recommendation. I think the lure of owning Starbucks or McDonald's is great, but it doesn't work for everybody. In most cases, it doesn't work. So my recommendation is, if you want to invest into a category, then if that top brand is not available, generally it is not, then you should look for the right brand in that category, and you would definitely find one. What is the minimum cost of investment to start franchise? Ujjwal, Anand, Ujjwal, it's really subjective. You can start a franchise for, let's say, 20,000 rupees if you open a package center at your home, and to open, let's say, Burger King typically takes about 2 crores. So it really is, I would say. But I think if I talk about master franchising for a reasonable brand, I think you can think about, I think, a 50 lakh rupee budget, you can start thinking about it. I think that's something which might be connected to what I'm talking about. Any home decor franchisees? I think yes. There are home decor franchisees available. I'm not sure if I have one, but we can definitely help you. So Sandeep Sanka, if you can, Dheeraj, if you can please connect with Sandeep Sanka regarding home decor franchisees, please.
Sure.
What industry can go after COVID, can grow after COVID? I think that's one question which is very good. Thank you, Dilip Pandey. What industry can grow after COVID-19 and lockdown? Well, I think first of all, I would like to say there are no definitive answers of this, right? Because we are undergoing pandemic right now. However, there is now a clear indication of what would not work, which is let's say we know that in the food business, there would be especially in the mass category. I'm not talking about fine dining or casual dining. In mass category, 70-80% of that business is going to go to cloud kitchen, dark kitchen. So I think you would see there's already growing, but massive growths in traditional big brands like McDonald's, Subways, and Wendy's. All these guys really investing a lot in what we call the back kitchen, cloud kitchen concept. So that's one category you would see very big. Second, I think anything in education attached to technology. So this COVID-19 has really sort of showed us that how technology is going to be important. So anything which is connected to learning plus technology we think will be very big. Third category, I think, as I mentioned, service businesses. So going forward, I think the service businesses which are solving a problem, let's say even cleaning businesses, we will see now the way it is in the Western world, a lot of cleaning is going to come into the organized sector, because this COVID-19 has really showed us the disparity and how cleaning will become very big. Cleaning plus disinfection, that become very, very big. And apart from that, I think these categories I feel can be very big. And you would see another, I think, fourth thing which I will say is because this COVID-19, what it has done, it has shown the strength of local supply chain, right? So in this sort of what we are facing in lockdown, our local Kirana stores have all the stock, the big stores don't. So you will see a lot more franchising happening at local level. So look out for brands. So this is my tip. Look out for brands which can fit into your neighborhood. So if they do, then India would add another, let's say, India can add 5,000 stores to a brand. So these four things, I think, what I'm seeing, of course, as we go along, we would see more. But these four things I predict would be valid once this is over. Okay. Gautam Munath. Hi, Gautam. It is said that after this coronavirus stuff, the retail sector, specifically the brick and mortar store, will not be doing good. So when you say retail store, what exactly you mean? Well, Gautam, I think the answer is yes and no. Yes. No, retail is not going to get wiped out. No. In fact, retail will become more important in terms of doing good retail. So it will be a mix of retail plus service, right? So I think brands which can manage, their retail plus, of course, do direct to home as well. So, for example, you go to a store. Let's say you go to a big box store and you like the merchandise, and then it's delivered to your home. So I think retail is not going to get wiped out 100%. No, that's not but yes, retail companies which can provide good plus great experience, great pricing. So that so at a mall level, brands which can provide great experience, right? But at a local level, it will be about great product, great service with great pricing. So these two, I think that's how the retail will survive. Yes, I think after this, you also have to think that the real estate, which has I'm talking about the rentals part in malls, has seen growth so much in last 10 years, which was unreasonable. I think a lot of malls are going to become reasonable now, because they would want to for the brands to survive. So brands which are not able to give great experience would not survive the mall growth. But the growth will happen. So mall brand is great experience, maybe with added pricing, and the growth and the neighborhood brands is great product, great service with great pricing. I think that's how it will go. Of course, you will see some brands shutting down because they have something which wrong with them, or maybe over leveraged something. But so you should accordingly look at, people are not going to stop eating, people are not going to stop buying clothes or buying electronics. It will survive, no, not at all. But yes, some unreasonable businesses which were let's say running, they would not be able to survive. So this question is from Sarad Babu. Hi Sarad. Any tips to close master franchise deals? That's such a good question. Well, depends. I think, I guess, hire me. But close tips, I think the biggest, my experience across working in a master franchise is that, if you want to really close a deal with the brand, you need to do the hard work. Meaning, brand, if you want to acquire a territory, but you talk like a unit franchisee, your communication is that, then no brand is not going to take you seriously. So if you really want to acquire master franchise, do the work, do the hard work of understanding the brand, understanding that market in your territories. For example, if you want to acquire a master franchise for your state, do a deep analysis of that market and understand the competition and competitors in that market, and give a plan. This is what I will do with the brand. If you do these 4 things, you are at least ahead by 80% in comparison with other candidates. Brand would definitely at least hear from you. After that, of course, it's a lot about if you are able to build a relationship. But if you really want to become a candidate which a brand should look for, you have to do these things, because again, master franchising is investment into future, right? So they want to evaluate you if you are talking future or no. So I would say that would be a tip I would want to give you. It should definitely help you. If it doesn't, hire me. How much investment needed for master franchise? Again, it's a very subjective question. What all brands? You let me know, Ikansh, how many questions I can take. How many people we have now?
As many. We have 76 people.
Okay. What all brands are available? What all brands are available for master franchise? Every brand is available for master franchise. Almost like, there are just hundreds of them are available. You have to kind of decide what kind of master franchise you're talking about. You buy a country or region. Please maybe redraft your question. Ujjwal Anand, what is the scope of growth in the beauty sector? Very good question, Ujjwal. Very, very big. Very good question. Beauty sector, I think if I can, it will be phenomenal growth. So even if you just compare now vis-a-vis last 10 years back, right? We were only consuming our mom and pop salons, right? But again, now you see every neighborhood market in the country, at least I can talk about the major cities. I think it is the same thing in tier 2 as well. Has earlier it used to be 80-20 ratio, meaning 80% local individual mom and pop stores, and then 20% chain. In last only 10 years, the equation has changed. It's I would say it's almost now 60 40 60% every neighborhood in India, at least I can talk about metro cities or the top 15 cities, at least every neighborhood had about 5 to 8 chain sellers. Just imagine the amount of business, the amount of scalability. And going forward, again, this is again a prediction. Going forward, you would see at least 10,000 more sellers coming in, which meaning the mom and pop won't be able to survive, right? But you will see 10,000 new sellers coming up at least in next 10 years. You would definitely want to be part of that growth. So bringing in a good seller chain to India is absolutely a great idea, and it is one of those sunshine sectors. Whatever you in last 10 years, I think this sector has grown phenomenally. In next 10 years, it will grow even further, and you would see so many brands, both domestic and international, coming in. And again, it is a high margin business. See, it's good. So so there are very few businesses which are high margin and local. So education is one. That's why you see the biggest growth in franchising so education is a big sector in India, right? Preschools, every preschool, 70,000 preschools in India, half of them are franchised. High margin business. Royalties in education are 15%. So again, so very good question. Great choice of sector. In case you would want to talk about more on the sector, you can send me an email or just connect with my team. We can extend more, but good choice. This is going to be very big. Okay. This is the hi Satish. Is Logischool already there in India? Are they also looking for unit franchise at this stage? If yes, okay. Satish Kota, hi. Yes, Logischool, we have been able to set up our first pilot in Bangalore. Yes, the unit franchise, although they don't prefer, but at this, now that they're starting in the country, they are open for unit franchise. The total cost of putting the store and the franchise fees, I think it is about 25-30 lakhs. 25-30 lakhs. Please connect with me, with my team. We will be more than happy to send you how does it look like and have a chat. Aniket Sanghi, hi Aniket. How to spot the company's competitive advantage in line with India market? Could be like something works great in other Western countries, but might not be applicable in India. Good question, and I think Ankit, you're right. So yeah, I think you have to understand the difference. So I think I'll take your question and try and answer it from a perspective that how you should look at the opportunity, right? I think that is where your question is, how to look at the opportunity. Would that opportunity make sense in India? I'll give you one tip. The tip is, if that service today is available and very big in the unorganized sector, next, then that if it's a big service in unorganized sector, it would eventually go to organized sector only in next 10-20 years. So if there is if anything which you're looking at, and it is very big in the unorganized sector, you would see it going into the organized sector from a 5 to 10 years standpoint. So I think I would frame your question and look at opportunities what are the bigger opportunities. For example, I give you example, all education was mom and pop, all saloon was mom and pop, all food was mom and pop, right? Not anymore, all are organized. So when looking at an opportunity from a standpoint of master franchising, look at it, is it in the unorganized sector? And if it is going to get organized, right? So I would actually look at opportunities like that. Now, applicability to India, I think, yeah, everything. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all people. Every like McDonald's doesn't sell paneer burgers or aloo tikki burgers in outside India, but they do in India. So every service, every product can be changed. Just see if there is a pool of people who would be there to buy that, and if that is there, yeah, definitely. And Ashish Agarwal, what is the average ROI should one keep in mind when looking to invest in master franchise on a short term to long term basis? Ashish Agarwal, well, this is, I think you have to go back to what I mentioned earlier. There is no set answer. Okay, as I said, you are investing into the future if it is a master franchise. Your ROI and ROT, which is return on time, is not going to come in let's say 5 years at least. So, but overall, I'm talking about overall in franchising, this is globally and it applies to India also, a return of 20%. In let's say the short 15 to 20%, 15% in the short term, and over a period of time after master franchising, to justify the investment you will make in the first 3 years, let's say starting from the 6th, 7th years, you should definitely be getting at least a return above 20%, because you're getting royalties, right? You're getting royalties, you're getting fees. So that, I think you should keep that in mind. I'm kind of taking what on average works. Any franchisee about logistics? Parmeshwar Lavale. I'm sure there are. I would ask my Franchise India team to please follow up and give you options in logistics. Ashish Agarwal, is there any franchisee which focus on high-end coding like AI and machine learning? So these, good question, Ashish. It is already a very big category. So they're already, but it comes under education. See, so IT education is very big market in India, and almost every one of them is now doing a course on coding. I don't know what high-end coding is, but an AI and machine learning. We currently represent world's largest IT education company. It's a $30 billion group from US called New Horizon. They were there in India before with Shriram Group. So they do these courses. They are available. So yes, a lot of options are available. But nobody is going to do like only coding or machine learning. It's part of an overall curriculum in IT, and you can choose. And now there are a lot of companies which are on demand. You can sign up for their individual courses, so they are available. This is Anil Dhandawade. Hi Anil. Which brand will be successful in Malaysia and Singapore, and why do you think so? Again, both are great markets. Malaysia, in fact, is one of my favorite countries in Asia, in Southeast Asia. Very good combination of like culture and modern infrastructure. So, well, great markets. Difference is Singapore, of course, is a very mature market, very, very mature market, very mature, very, very expensive. So would not recommend for Singapore anything to do with F&B, because it's very tough. I think in Singapore, take a brand which is service based, because although it's only 5 million population, but demand and payment capacity for good services is available. So take, taking in, like say, good American brand and service brand and taking there would do great business. You can do some good products also if the market is there for that. So good products from India can be taken. So some good products, if they are there, Singapore can be great market. Malaysia, again, very different from Singapore. It's a large market. For example, just to give you, India only has, I don't know, 300 KFC. Malaysia has 600 KFCs. So Malaysia, big market. I think food can do very well, especially food which is halal, because it's mostly Muslim population, right? Malaysia is a great market for both food. So getting a Dubai brand to Malaysia would be great. We have some great brands. So Malaysia food can do very well. Retail can do very well. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. If you want to invest in any of these countries, please reach out to me and my team. How do you see the organized laundry market expanding in India? Amit Saraf, great question. Just like the beauty market, laundry market is very big in Western countries, very, very big, highly franchised, right? So investing into laundry brand is a no-brainer at this point in time, because, for example, just hypothetically, let's say there are 100,000, 1 lakh laundries in India. I would say only 0.1% of them are in the organized sector, right? At least 10% of them will become organized. That again is 8 to 10,000 shops, right? So yes, laundry market, great. Again, as I mentioned, again, service-based, laundry service-based. So yes, great sector. You should look into it. Ujjwal Anand, hi Ujjwal. According to you, how much time will the economy will function normally after coronavirus is finished, and by what time should one invest in new venture? Ujjwal, well, if anything to go by, I would say what we are reading, not just for India, globally, I think it will take about 6 months to 12 months for economy to, I think, to kind of go back on its feet. But again, that is not the question. The question is, I think, and if we talk about franchising in general, is you need to, I think, but use this time to know the, see, you have to realize one thing. The time right now, everybody is in the same boat, not just India, but the world. So this is a good time to look for businesses which are doing good, which are surviving well. If they do, then they will, when the time is good, of course, everybody can survive. So I think use this time to do research, because I think, and be ready. And another thing which you should don't, I think investment, again, you use the right word, investment. Franchising is an investment. So look for, you can, so what is going to happen? We saw this, a lot of it in 2008, right? When a lot of brands are now ready to do business at a much reasonable rupee or dollar value, right? Because so look for, first of all, do your research, and now try and you can get some very good deals in this time. See, anyways, franchising investment into future, right? So if you can do a deal in next 6 months to 8 months, when brands are ready to kind of do deals at a good pricing, pick that asset, pick that brand, and knowing that, especially if you are doing master franchising, that you're signing a contract for 10 years, 20 years, for example, you should be able to get your return once the market goes back up, which it will, right? So my advice, if you're looking to invest into franchising, start doing your research, keep an eye, and if you are confident about an industry, an opportunity, a brand, I mean, you might get a great deal. This is the best time to do deals, you know. But research is better. Don't get sold to. Don't get sold to anything. Do your research and drive a good deal. Okay, our last question is how to spot a available franchise at a nascent stage. Aniket, Sangi, hi, Aniket. Well, it's very much like, you know, you would have heard about angel investing, right? What is an angel investing? Angel investing is where people either they invest into an idea or they invest into a person, right? So at a nascent stage in franchising, look for the person behind the brand, and if that sector that sector is going to grow, let's say at 30%, 50% year on year in next 10 years, then you can drive some very good deals. So think like an angel investor. When that's a very good question, Ankit. There are some good concepts available which are not as big. They can really drive return massively if you pick them at the right stage. Very good question. Think like an angel investor. So angel investing is all about today, let's say that idea, people invest into potential, right? So yeah, so you're investing into the potential of the sector and potential of the person. And if you're convinced on both, I guess you can be a multi-millionaire in the future. Okay, any good coffee shop franchise that you can suggest from the list? Naveen Bundy. Naveen, you'll also then currently we represent, I think this will be, I would say, the Starbucks in the future. It is owned by now a group from Thailand, Minor Group, the largest group, $6 billion group. It's called Coffee Club. But they're only interested in master franchising. So we represent that. We represent a great coffee brand from Esquire. It's from UK called Esquire Coffee. That is a great brand. If you're looking for, so these are the two, I think, coffee brands. I would have more also as well. If you're looking for master or a premium coffee shops, then these two brands can be very good. Last question, Amit Saraf, you said look at unorganized sector marketing to find next organized opportunity. Is two-wheeler servicing be successful if organized? 100%, Amit Saraf, 100%. Yes, the answer is yes. Okay, Kansh?
Venus, there are a few more questions in the chat tool that we haven't addressed.
Which one?
Chat.
Q&A, right?
No, chat. You were answering Q&A
Okay.
till now. There are a lot of questions in the chat tool as well.
More. I can't see chat. More. Where should I? Chat, yes, I can see that now. Okay. I would only answer the questions which I have not answered yet, okay? About engineering services. How about engineering services? How is the time to look at the sector? I don't get the question. Engineering services, what engineering services? How do you see Indian brands going global through the franchising route? Opportunities for NIS? Good question, Anshuman. Yes, in fact, we are currently working on a project where I'm already working with, this is a very good question. In fact, we are currently working on a project where we are in the process of acquiring about top 20 brands from India and taking them to the world. So that, because there are some brands which can work anywhere, right? There's some good brands in India. For example, in this project only, we have our first brand which we have closed is Da Milano. You would know them. That's an Indian brand. It's actually an Indian brand, it's not an Italian brand. Great product, pure leather product, and you can buy a great bag. So it's a brand, let's say global brand, if I compare it, very much similar to Michael Kors, but not at pricing. You can buy a great Da Milano bag, let's say in 10,000 rupees, which is about $120. So Yes, the answer is yes. Da Milano is one. I feel like Fab India is a no-brainer. It'll do well anywhere. So Fab India, yes. The answer is yes. And there is a very big, in fact, we do work with certain category of NRIs and who want to kind of do this, because I'm not sure if you know, but Indians, origin people in the US, in the UK, in Australia are some of the biggest franchise operators in these countries. So they already know franchising. Every time I talk to a brand, they tell me 30% of their franchisees are Indian origin, right? Because Indian are very entrepreneurial. So no, you can't take every Indian brand, but yes, the answer is yes. We already have acquired one in this project. We plan in this year when the time is down and out, we actually are looking at acquiring. For example, we believe that a brand like Haldiram's can do very well, let's say in New Jersey, right? A lot of Indians there, great vegetarian food that is coming up. So we are working on about 20 odd brand project right now and connect them to at least 25 markets in the world, especially with this entrepreneurial NRI base. So yeah, if you have any specific territory in mind or any specific brand, we can 100% work with you. So please send us a message and we can do this. As a doctor, hi Arjun Anand, Arun Anand. As a doctor, I'm looking for a IVF franchise. Is it a good one to go with huge investment into the tune of about 2 CR? Please guide. Well, hi Arun. I think fertility, is healthcare anyways is a big, again, 75% of healthcare in India is private. So healthcare is a big sector. Now, I think a success of, let's say, IVF franchise is a lot depends upon, because it is a specialized service, right? So I let me compare it with, let's say, India has a very successful. Hello.
Branding bhejoo.
Hello. Yeah. Like in the hair restoration, a lot of successful examples. So I would say I think it's a good industry because fertility is a big issue, but I think a lot depends upon, and I'm assuming if you're contemplating buying a brand, they already have some standing, but it all depends upon where you open. I think that would be, if you open it in a, let's say, a big urban big city, I guess the chances are much bigger. So a lot depends upon on that, and I would request that you do some local survey before putting rupees in the brand. Do some research in your city where you want to open. What currently is the market? How many IVF because I think every hospital has an IVF service now, so what exactly is the market? So if that market is big, then a specialty IVF brand coming in would definitely drive that business. So I would want you to do your local research, and if that research is positive, then that's a good sign. Second, try and understand the gaps. I think if there are gaps, then you can bank on them. Yes, it is a specialty. See, if the IVF service is very expensive, right? So so that's why the investment would also be very high. But I think again the return on investment would not be immediate. It will take time. So if you really choose to go ahead, first of all, do proper research. Second, do proper research of the brand, and also look into deeply into the legal agreement terms and condition. I think since the service business, that will be important. So the three are my suggestions. And if you need help, please send us a message. We would love to have love to help you, because it's a big investment. What all brands do you carry in Salop? Actually, currently, I don't have a Salop brand. But I have very good relationship with some of the biggest salon brands in the world, like Just Cuts and Great Clips and Just Clips. So if you need any specific brand, just let me know. I can get it. Any other questions? So I think a lot of them, maybe I cannot answer all. Any I think, can't you choose? And then we can. Ikansh?
Yeah, Venus.
Yeah.
I think we have answered all questions.
Okay. So I think thank you so much, everyone. I especially want to thank my team members, Dheeraj and his team, Ekansh and his team, and Anshul, if he's on this call, who helped me with the session. And I want to thank all of you. Please, as I told you, this was my first session. I generally am used to kind of, giving sessions in a room, so do give us your feedback. How you liked it, any other what would you want us to improve, and if you would want to, we in India we work with a lot of investors. We are and we provide a service which where we help you first do proper research on you. Who are you, where you live, what is the right opportunity for you to invest as per these conditions, and then represent you to close deals with brands, right? So if you think you would need that service, please reach out to us, and we can schedule a one-on-one call with me and my team. And otherwise, please leave your feedback so that we can improve in future. Do give us some ideas also, what topics you would want to talk about. Thank you so much, and have a good Sunday.